Hello everyone and welcome to our ONIT College Basketball Show. We've got the last week of the men's regular season and the women's tournament beginning that we are going to take a look at here today. Before we dive on in, please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as it does help us out here on the channel and lets us produce more videos for you. And if you stick around to the end of today's episode, we'll let you know how you can get involved with some of your ONIT cards in our community action. So make sure you do both of those things, and we are going to begin by taking a look at what's in our Tuesday box.
What's in the box?
Our Tuesday ONIT College Basketball box features our locally sourced but nationally relevant headlines for all of our ONIT teams as we look at the men's and women's matchups that are going to be very important this week for a lot of our teams that are on the bubble. We'll look at our two best performers over the past week in making the grade, and we'll finish it off by giving you our players to watch going into this final week of the regular season for the men and these big tournament games for the women. Without any ado, let's begin by taking a look at who made the grade and our best performers. This is Making the Grade, where we look at the best performers from the weekend. We have one man and one woman, and this one's a little bit special because both of them come from the same school. So we'll begin here on the men's side and talk about our Gem Mint 10 for the weekend, which is none other than Alex Caravan from the UConn Huskies. UConn won 71-67, and if they can get through Marquette, we'll all but wrap up a Big East title. Alex Caravan helped them out in this game in a big way. 23 points on 8 of 11 shooting, including 5 of 6 from beyond the arc. Also was perfect at the free throw line, making both of his foul shots, and then added in 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He was all over the court, and in a 4-point win for UConn, his performance was a big reason why they were able to hold off Seton Hall and get up to 17-2 in the Big East, putting themselves in a clinching scenario against Marquette. So for that gutsy performance and the great shooting, Alex Caravan is our men's Gem Mint 10 this weekend. On the women's side, we're taking a look at another UConn Husky, as I mentioned. This time, it's Sarah Strong from the women's team in the 85-49 win. She did just about everything as well. 5 of 10 from the floor for 11 points, while grabbing 7 rebounds to lead the team, dishing 4 assists, which also led the team, and had 6 steals, leading the Huskies in that category as well. She led the Huskies in 3 categories and came up just 3 points behind Azzy Fudd as one of the highest scorers in the game. So for Sarah Strong's all-around performance and UConn securing their 31-0 season, she is our Gem Mint 10 performer on the women's side this week. Let us know if you agree or disagree with me down below. And now let's take a look at some of these men's games here in the final week of the regular season. Taking a look at our men's games this week, some of these will be very important when it comes to who is going to be seeded where in their conference tournaments. And we'll start off with a matchup out of the Big Ten between two of our ONIT teams. We have number 9 Nebraska traveling to Los Angeles to take on UCLA. Nebraska's coming off a win at USC, so they've been in LA already, so no need to worry about the travel for them at the moment as they stay out on the West Coast. But for UCLA, the seesaw season continues. Just lost at Minnesota 78-73. They're 19-10 on the year. Not sure what is going on there in Westwood and if UCLA can actually make the NCAA tournament. Beating Nebraska would certainly be a big boost to their resume, but they have struggled mightily in games against ranked opponents for a majority of the season. And Nebraska at 25-4 is really trying to cement their place as one of the top 10 teams in the country, and maybe with some shakeups ahead of them, secure a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, especially if they could get past Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. So this is definitely a game to watch, resume booster for both teams, potentially, as Nebraska just needs to hold on and hope some teams in front of them lose. So this is a good one coming to us from the Big Ten that we'll have our eyes on. Then another matchup between two ONIT schools is between our timeless only schools out of the SEC. That features number 20 Arkansas trying to bounce back after their loss against number 7 Florida, taking on Texas. Well, Texas is coming off their win over Texas A&M and needs a quality win to boost their tournament resume as well. Texas at 18-11. Just got the 6-point win at Texas A&M. They've been hot and cold throughout the season. They've done well as of late and have gotten people talking about them as a serious bubble contender, maybe one of the last 4 in at the moment. So Texas would love to have this win over a ranked team in Arkansas. For Arkansas, they're 21-8. They're number 20 in the country. It seems like they never move no matter what happens. They win, they don't go up. They lose, they don't go down. They're just like stuck, flatlined at 20, and they have been for some time now. They're just trying to close out the season with some wins here, go into the SEC tournament, and potentially try to win the SEC tournament. They're probably in no matter what happens here for Arkansas based on the resume they have. But they could certainly improve their seeding by winning out and then winning that SEC tournament. So lots of important games coming up here for Arkansas, and they have one of my favorite players, which is Darius Acuff Jr. He's a monster. So looking forward to watching this game between Texas and Arkansas coming up tomorrow on the 4th. Then we have a Big Ten matchup between two schools as well that are vying for position. Penn State at 12-17 and Ohio State at 18-11. Biggest upset of the week potentially came courtesy of Ohio State as they beat Purdue when they were number 8 in the country, 82-74. This Ohio State team is very scary. They play a lot of these ranked teams very close, and as we saw here against Purdue, they got the win. The only team that's really been able to pull away from Ohio State in those ranked matchups has been Michigan, and they did it both times. But Ohio State is certainly a team that everyone is laser focused on as a bid stealer. They're going to be a problem in the Big Ten tournament, no doubt about that. And Penn State has played a lot better as of late. They just beat Iowa 71-69. They're a team that's kind of scratching and clawing at the door for this Big Ten tournament. If they can get in, maybe cause a little bit of havoc, depending on who they get matched up with, if they can draw a team that they stack up with well in terms of playing styles. So certainly a team to watch out for, and this will be an interesting game because Ohio State does have to go to Penn State. So we'll see if the Nittany Lions can upset the Buckeyes. Then, looking at some of our top-ranked teams, we have number 3, Michigan, 27-2. Easy win at Illinois, 84-70, as they take down the Fighting Illini, the number 10 team in the country. They'll be back in action on the 5th at Iowa. That's another important game for Michigan as they try to capture the Big Ten regular season crown. Then we have number 4, UConn. If they can get through Marquette on the 7th, they will be the Big East champions. It's as simple as that. Them and St. John's are separated by half a game. A loss for UConn and a win for St. John's would make St. John's the Big East champions, and a win for UConn secures their fate. They're the number 4 team in the country after they just got past the Seton Hall Pirates, 71-67, and looking to beat Marquette to secure that crown. Then we have number 12, Gonzaga. They shared the WCC title after losing at St. Mary's to finish the regular season, 70-59. They will await a whole bunch of results in the WCC tournament as they get a pass all the way through to the semifinals, courtesy of being the co-number 1 seed. WCC tournament does kind of a wacky bracket if you haven't checked it out yet, but the top 2 seeds in that tournament get a bye past the first 2, I believe it's 3 rounds. I don't have the bracket in front of me right now, but they get a heck of a bye all the way darn near through to the finals. So Gonzaga will have a long time to wait. They do not play until March 9th. So they have more than a full week off to get ready for that game against whoever they might play out of the WCC. And then Purdue, number 15 in the country now after losing to Ohio State. They're 22-7. They're at Northwestern tomorrow night, trying to bounce back. Hopes for a 1 seed for Purdue this season have most likely been dashed after that loss against Ohio State. Best that they can hope for right now is probably a 2 seed, and there's some work to be done to get back to that point. Probably going to need to either reach the final or just outright win the Big Ten tournament if Purdue is going to find their name with a number 2 next to it on the seed line come March Madness. So trying to get back into action against Northwestern as we take a look here at one of our timeless only schools in Auburn. Their season has started to fall apart a little bit here down the stretch. This is where they really needed to come to play. Instead, they are now 15-14 on the year after losing to Ole Miss 85-79. They will play LSU tonight on the 3rd. They need wins, a lot of them. They need to win both of their final 2 regular season games, and then I think they're going to need to pull some upsets in the SEC tournament if they are going to be considered for an at-large bid into the NCAAs. So Auburn definitely with some work to do here down the stretch. And the same can be said for Texas A&M, losing to Texas 76-70. They're 19-10 on the year. They'll get Kentucky tonight. A&M needs some wins. They need to get a ranked win under their belt. They could have 20-plus wins at the end of the season, but that still might not be enough just based on their recent track record in some of these high-profile games. So need to see A&M do a little bit more, I think, if you want to feel really secure with the committee. And our last team on the men's side is West Virginia, pulling a huge upset, 79-71 over BYU at home. They took down the 19th ranked Cougars by 8 points. Really solid all-around game there from West Virginia. Amazing first half as they just blitzed BYU, outscored them 40-26. And now they'll be on the road at Kansas State. Definitely a nice bounce-back win for West Virginia after they had a string of losses. If they can close out their Big 12 regular season with a couple of wins, they're a team that maybe pulls another upset in the Big 12 tournament. And who knows, maybe they get in, but they're going to have to beat BYU again, Iowa State, Arizona. They're going to have to do something really big in that tournament, I think, to get in. But that is how our men's final week of the regular season is shaping up. We got a couple of really good games and 3 ONIT versus ONIT matchups that we'll be keeping our eye on. And for the women, let's talk about how they are heading in to their conference tournaments. For our women's teams, ton of them secured byes in their conference tournaments, so we won't know exactly who they play until later on. But we do have a first-round matchup in the SEC between 2 ONIT schools in a timeless versus timeless matchup. One of these teams, unfortunately, will be going home in the first round, but we have Texas A&M matching up against Auburn in the first round of the SEC tournament. For Auburn, they're coming off a 70-41 loss at Arkansas to end the regular season, the only win that Arkansas got against an SEC regular season opponent this year, while Texas A&M is surging. They just beat Ole Miss 66-58, number 19th ranked team in the country at the time, and A&M is coming into this tournament on a little bit of a winning streak, including picking up ranked wins. Over the past 2 weeks, they've picked up 2 ranked wins. So huge performances from Texas A&M as of late. If they can continue those, I don't see how they have any problem getting past Auburn and sending the Tigers home in the first round. But definitely a game to keep your eyes on tomorrow on March 4th. Then, for the rest of our teams, UConn and UCLA, both number 1 seeds in their respective conference. UConn winning the Big East, going a perfect 31-0 and undefeated at 20-0 in the Big East as well. While UCLA is 28-1 on the season, they went undefeated in the Big Ten. They are the number 1 seeds in their conferences. So UConn will play on the 7th against whoever can win enough games to get to match up against them with their bye. And then UCLA, the number 1 seed in the Big Ten, will be in action on March 6th, again, against a team that we are not sure of yet. It's the same story for South Carolina and Texas. South Carolina is the number 1 seed in the SEC. Texas right behind them as the number 2 seed. A lot of teams are playing for the opportunity to play these 2 teams, so we're not sure who they will be matching up with just yet, but they will be in action on the 6th when they kick off SEC tournament play. For Michigan and Ohio State, a little bit down the pecking order in the Big Ten tournament, but they still did enough to secure byes as well in this Big Ten Conference tournament. Number 8, Michigan, coming off the win against number 14, Maryland, 87-69, had no problem beating the Terrapins to secure their spot in this Big Ten tournament. And then Ohio State bounced back after losing to Michigan. They beat Michigan State on the road 87-68, the number 15th team ranked in the country at the time. So Ohio State and Michigan, both in the Big Ten tournament. Michigan number 8 in the country, Ohio State number 11. But just like UCLA. They too will be awaiting to see who their opponent is. The only difference for these two teams, Michigan, as a higher seed, drew a bye for 3-6. So they get to wait an extra day, while Ohio State will be in action on March 5th. So Ohio State gets one less day of rest. They will have to play one more game than Michigan, who has the bye through until the 6th of March. Then flipping back to the SEC here, we have Arkansas, a timeless only school. Mentioned that they got their win against Auburn, the only SEC regular season win that they captured, so congratulations to them. They draw number 17 Kentucky in the first round of the SEC tournament. Crazy that you could draw the 17th ranked team in the country in the first round of your conference tournament, but that's how loaded this SEC is. And for Arkansas, this will be a very tough matchup here tomorrow on the 4th against number 17 Kentucky. If they can get through it, that will certainly give them a lot of confidence, but it won't be enough to get them into the NCAA tournament. Arkansas will have to go on a massive run if they want to find a way to get in there at 12-19 on the season. But it all starts against Kentucky. You take it one game at a time, so we'll see if the Razorbacks can get past the Wildcats. Flipping over back to the Big Ten, we have Nebraska, 18-11 on the year, closed out the regular season with a 93-52 win over Rutgers, and they draw Indiana in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. This is definitely a winnable game for Nebraska, which is good because Nebraska needs to win some games to secure their spot, in my opinion. They have had some difficulties in the latter half of Big Ten play. So winning as many games as possible in the Big Ten tournament would seriously help them out when they're looking for an at-large bid, because I don't know if they're going to be able to run the table and get through this gauntlet of a Big Ten tournament schedule. Then finally, our last two teams here, Tennessee at 16-12, just lost to Vanderbilt 87-77, number 5 team in the country. Tennessee did do enough in the regular season to earn themselves a bye until March 5th, but they have to win some games as well. They are on a big-time losing streak. It hit 5 games after losing to Vanderbilt. They lost out to end the season, lost their ranking inside the top 25, and Tennessee right now is not drawing any favor with the committee. They have to start winning some basketball games, and their opportunity to do that will come in the SEC tournament, but against whom we are not sure just yet. And lastly, USC 17-12 on the year. They have been back and forth flip-flopping on the bubble all season in a lot of people's eyes. Just lost big against number 2 UCLA 73-50 to wrap up their regular season. And they draw a Washington team that's been in and out of the rankings throughout the year in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. In my opinion, USC has to win this game to get into the NCAA tournament. If they get bounced first round of the Big Ten tournament at 17-13, I don't think that's going to be enough for the committee to put them into the field as an at-large selection. So win desperately needed for the women of Troy, and those are all of our women's teams this week as they head to their conference tournaments. Like I said, a lot of unknowns with opponents, but we know the dates, and we know there's going to be fireworks throughout these tournaments. So looking forward to watching them. It all starts tomorrow night on the 4th for us in the SEC and the Big Ten as well. So we'll be watching those, and we'll give you our players to watch this week as we've got some very impactful games coming up. This is a look at our players to watch this week. Big games, big names, and these folks are going to have some impacts here. We'll start off with Texas' Jordan Pope. He's playing some of the most minutes on the floor for Texas and one of their best shooters, especially from 3. They're going to need him if they want to make the NCAA tournament. He's going to have some really good shooting performances here over these final regular season games for Texas and heading into the SEC tournament. So he's one to watch if they are going to break off the bubble. Then we have Kara Dunn for USC, leading scorer for the Trojans this year. Like I said, they have to beat Washington to stay relevant in terms of the bubble talk. And so Dunn is going to have to backpack this team on the offensive end if they're going to get past a Washington team that can definitely put up points in a hurry. Then we have Bryce Sanford for Nebraska going into that game against UCLA. I think his defense and scoring ability are both going to be very important for number 9 Nebraska, because they do have the opportunity to really climb that seed line here based on what happens at the end of the regular season and in the Big Ten tournament. So winning against UCLA is going to be super important for the Cornhuskers, and Sanford is the guy who I'm keeping my eye on for them. Then we've got Fatmata Janeh for Texas A&M as they go into their first round SEC matchup. She's coming off a double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds against a ranked team in Ole Miss. I'm really interested to see what she can do against Auburn, if she can potentially improve on either of those numbers and lead Texas A&M to an SEC tournament win here in the first round. Then we have Terrace Reed Jr. for UConn as they try to secure that Big East regular season championship. His ability to score, rebound, and play defense are all things that are going to be very important against a Marquette team that is going to be out to spoil the fun. Reed is probably the most impactful player on that UConn team, just because if he's not getting rebounds, if he's not causing problems on the defensive end, things can fall apart quickly for the Huskies. So he is my X factor for them as they hunt a Big East championship. Then we have Harrison Kubayali for Auburn. If Texas A&M is going to lose to Auburn, I think Kubayali is going to have a big game. She is kind of the leader for the Tigers out there on the floor, even as just a freshman. If Auburn is going to pull this upset, I'm expecting her to have a big game, and if she doesn't, I don't think that the Tigers can get it done. We have Tyler Billadeo next for UCLA. He is the leading scorer for the Bruins, and again, they have just been up and down and so inconsistent this year, but Billadeo through it all has been rather consistent as the leading scorer, nearly 18 points per game. If Nebraska is going to go down in this contest, Billadeo's probably going to have to pop up for 20-plus points. Can he make that happen against what is an amazing defensive team in Nebraska? I'm not entirely sure, but if he does, he's my pick to click there for UCLA if they're going to pull the upset. We have Talia Jones for Arkansas, just coming off that win against Auburn to give them some confidence going into the SEC tournament. They snuck in as the last seed in the SEC tournament. Jones has been the leading scorer all season long. She's been the most consistent offensive weapon for the Razorbacks. It's a lot of the same story we've heard with some of these other players. If there's going to be an upset, you got to lean heavily on your stars, and Talia Jones is a star for Arkansas, and she is their shining light and their beacon of hope if they are going to get past the first round of the SEC tournament. We have Bruce Thornton next for Ohio State. After Ohio State just took down Purdue, all eyes are on the Buckeyes to see if they can keep their winning streak going and potentially get their way into the NCAA tournament. Thornton has been the guy who has led them for the majority of the season, and I don't expect anything to change here down the stretch for Ohio State. They are a dangerous team when he plays at his best, and so this week, for sure, I will have my eyes on him to see if he can lead Ohio State to some upsets in the tournament and potentially get them into the NCAA Big Dance where anything could happen. And our last player on the list is Britt Prince for Nebraska. She leads her team in just about every category this season. She is one of the best players in the country. Honestly, she just has not had the help and support that she has needed throughout this year, and part of the reason why Nebraska went into a bit of a tailspin at the midway point through conference play. But Britt Prince is my pick to get Nebraska back on track here. She will be the one that I am looking at closely to see if they can get through Indiana and maybe make a run in that Big Ten tournament to help Nebraska secure their spot in the field of 64 as well. So those are all my players to watch this week. We have so many good games. Tell us in the comments what games you're going to be watching or what conference tournament you're most excited for. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're pulling any ONIT cards for our winter sports or the brand new ONIT Black football release, we love to see them and share them right here on YouTube. You can go to the link down below, or you can find it in the description and upload your hits so we can share them here on the YouTube channel. We appreciate you all watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day and are looking forward to some amazing conference basketball games as we get ever closer to March Madness and Selection Sunday. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you back here on Friday.